We are live. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Just wanted to welcome you back to the series that we're starting on abovethematrix.com. And I have the one, the only, the amazing Quentin Anderson. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. Really happy to have really had bumped into you. You have an amazing offer, amazing service, amazing product, amazing heart. And we just wanted to start talking a little bit more about what you've got going on and what inspired you to really get started.
Well, about 22 years ago, the domain blackowned.com was up for auction. And with my background in real estate, I saw it as a valuable piece of virtual real estate, not knowing what I would do with it, but I knew that I would land bank it. And at some point I'd figure it out. And so we fast forward to 2020, May 25th, the murder of George Floyd, which also happened on my birthday. I just lit a fire underneath me. And I said, I've been sitting on this piece of valuable virtual real estate for all these years. It's time to figure it out. What could Black owned mean to the world? And so as I started talking to different people and getting ideas, there were 4 areas that I wanted to cover. I wanted to cover education, employment, economics, and entertainment. So we started in terms of the educational part of it, working with the youth. I'm also a track coach. I coach about 100 plus kids every year. And it's important to me as a role model to be able to share with our kids, our values, and that, we're more than just athletes and entertainers. So I wanted to be able to make sure that our kids knew about our history. And, we started putting together programs so that they could learn about technology, about math that applies to business. And we partnered up with a school, the Art Center in Pasadena. And so we're in a process right now of raising funds so that we can get our kids into the Art Center in Pasadena. It's the top design school in America. So, that's where we focused in terms of education with our youth. And then on the employment side, we started to put together a platform that allowed Black professionals to showcase their talents without the need for code switching. They could be authentically Black, from 8 to 5 and, throughout the rest of the day. And we had a lot of interest from a company called Accenture. And so we're in the process of putting together a platform for Black professionals to showcase their talents, and employers to know that they can come to, the Black talent community and get authentically Black professionals.
Wow.
And then, go ahead.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
On the entertainment side, we were putting together a platform for artists to be able to showcase their talents, whether they be, singers or, some type of graphic art, for people to be able to come and participate with these artists and acquire their art. And then on the economic side, we haven't really started developing it out, but, it's the focus now is to develop a platform where business owners can showcase their products and services, and they can be supported by the community, not just the Black community, but anyone that's looking for great products and services. They'll be able to get those products and services on blackowned.com.
Man, I'm totally fascinated and intrigued because literally during our conversations, you have definitely given me some new terminology. Like I've never even heard of code switching. I have no idea what that is.
Don't say that.
Okay.
I'm sure you're going to get some text messages now.
Okay. Well, that's the thing about it, though. And that's one of the reasons why I do have this group called abovethematrix.com. It's designed to be like a real safe space online because, again, my journey as being a quote unquote Black man is not like anybody else's. Like literally, like I went from being in the inner city of Philadelphia, Chester, PA. And then from there, I just knew that there was just something that was different with me. I knew there was something that was different with my environment. And then I went on a little quest to really figure out who I was. So I wound up doing door-to-door sales. And then from there, I actually joined the Marine Corps and I learned this insane knowledge base. So just imagine me coming straight from the inner city going straight to the top level of like high level military communication. So and a little bit more about my background, even as a result of that, I went from, once I left the Marine Corps, growing and scaling several businesses from zero to a few hundred million. So they all went to all multi-billion-dollar companies, like I was telling you, and they're still in existence to this day. So my hardest transition has been a little different in the respect that I missed this whole band of life. Like literally, I'm learning more by going out here and being active and involved. And, like we met at Golf Beef, and that's a tournament that I've been supporting practically since day one. And it's one of those things where I just want to connect with people. Like I want to be able to have a really safe, transparent, and vulnerable, real experience with real people, which is the reasons why this group was legitimately started. I had a group like this back in 2020. And at one point in time, we had almost like 100 moderators, like it was a real popping, cracking group. Everybody could talk about whatever. And the rules were simple. We just said, become a critical thinker, not necessarily a critical person. And if you're going to bring the drama, that's fine. Let's see how we can monetize that. And that's all I really care about at the end of the day. So what I've discovered on my end, and it's the reasons why I was attracted to what you're doing, and that's how we really connected, was that literally there is a huge, to me, regardless of whether you're black or white or whatever, there's this huge knowledge gap and this huge information disparity that I want to close. And so when we first connected, that's what inspired me to really want to work with you a lot more in detail, because to your point, it was beyond just being black. It's like, yeah, let's come together. Blackowned.com is really designed to be, from what my understanding of it is, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's more of a core foundation of very highly talented, able black people. Because I've always said black, so I don't even know if that's right or wrong. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to be.
I prefer black.
Me too. Because I'm like, because I do know African Americans and they're legit from Africa. So I'm like, I get confused in the nomenclature, and I'm pretty smart. Like I'm a professional writer. I'm a professional advertiser and marketer on the highest levels. So now that I'm coming into different lanes, I'm discovering that the vernacular is different, the nomenclature is different. And I want to be able to set like a level foundation. And that's the reasons why when me and you were talking, we got past that point, we went immediate into the core, just like you did in the first 5 minutes of this interview. You're like legit, like, hey, look, that's cool, but here's why we're really doing this. So that's why I'm super excited and thankful that we are, working together as far as growing and scaling out this huge movement that you've created. I mean, because literally you've sat on it for 20 years, just like me. Like literally in Hollywood, it took me about 4 years just to think of my Hollywood name. That's how my mind works as well. I like to just think through things, and there's an art and skill to that, quite frankly. So we're going to do our best. Again, like I said, I want to stay on task and on focus, but I want people to get the full conceptual understanding of like why we connected and why we're working together and what the outcome of this is. Because to me, the final product is a viable community that's online and offline that just helps people connect dots. That's what I'm seeing. Am I off, or is that pretty accurate?
No, you're correct. This is a really big piece of real estate, virtual real estate. And I've attempted to, over the last couple of years, to build this out on my own, but it's so much bigger than me that I just need a team of professionals in their lanes that can help push this thing forward.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more, and I really appreciate that. Tell us about more. How does this movement contribute to the empowerment and the growth of everybody, and black people especially? Like, please walk us through the logics of it.
Well, and part of it is, I've gotten some pushback from people because they're saying, well, so and so is already doing this. Why don't you just team up with them? And my response to that is that, have you ever been to the mall? Which store do you buy your clothes from? Do you buy them only from one store, or do you buy them from multiple stores that have the things that resonate with you? And so I feel like, this is just another place in the mall where people can come and shop and get education and connect with things that resonate with them. So we're just giving people more choices.
Yeah. So speaking of choices, what does blackowned.com look like? What steps do you take to ensure that this movement promotes like the diversity and the whole range of the experience that you have? Like, what's the vision that you see?
Got it. So first of all, we're not mad at anybody. Oftentimes people can get caught up on the name, but the name is just identifying who we are. Our products and services are no different. Our ice is just as cold as any other place. It's just a place where we as Black people can identify, have a certain comfort level, but we're offering our products and services to anyone and everyone that can appreciate good quality.
Got it. So how does this, because I know we talked about this a little bit more as far as like balance maintaining like cultural authenticity versus everything else, because it seems like there's a line here, and I quite frankly don't know, and that's the reasons why I'm glad we're having this kind of conversation, because again, in my military background, I've always been like a journalist, so I don't really, all I care about is like the news. Like I want people to just tell the news. Like, again, we talked about that before, like the sourcing, the attribution, those things are important to me. You know what I'm saying?
I think I might have missed the question. I'm sorry. There was a little break in there.
Yeah, that's how powerful these conversations are. Like Zoom, we had 5 minutes problems getting onto it, and now my computer's freezing up. This stuff never happens. And I was just saying, as far as like, how are you maintaining like the cultural authenticity of this whole structure, this whole brand that you're talking about? Because I know you're talking about collectively everybody coming together, even though this is just the main identifier, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. So definitely you have to identify as a Black person in order to have your business showcased on our site, or you have to have shown that your company contributes to the advancement of the Black community, whether you're contributing to our nonprofit for our youth, or whether you're providing some type of cohort for our Black business owners to learn additional skills. We need to know that you're part of what we're doing. You can't just come on and give us some money and extract from our community, because we know that we're a loyal community. We will spend our money, but we want this to be a platform that does good for our community.
Got it. So could you like highlight a particularly innovative aspect? Because I know you had mentioned that there were other people who were saying, hey, why don't you just partner with this person or partner with that partner? So it sounds like there's something that's an innovative edge that you see that you bring to the marketplace that's different.
Yeah, we're definitely focused on technology. With the new AI coming, I feel like this is something that we can be in the forefront of. Kind of like when you look at a company like Schwinn bicycles. I'm old enough to have, wanted a Schwinn, but my family couldn't afford to give us a Schwinn, so we had Huffy. But then you look today, Schwinn is no one even thinks about Schwinn, because they didn't stay on the forefront of technology. And I feel like some of the ideas that I have in terms of advanced technology will just really move us, to the forefront.
Got it. So if you're able to say that a different way as far as summing up the innovation, what would that really look like if you said it a different way?
I don't know. I could say it a different way. I have to think about that.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because what I want to be able to do is get like people to really understand the robustness and the range, because I know we've talked about it a few times, and you have this huge major vision that you collectively started from coaching all the way, coaching up people as far as who need to understand how business works, all the way up to people who already have a viable business and doing well, and you just want to have them on the platform. So that's the reasons why I was asking that question.
Okay. I mean, and we definitely want it to be a seamless, interaction, a seamless transaction. So, we're not wanting to be a situation where we're having to explain, insufficiencies.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit more about like the specific challenges that you face as a Black entrepreneur and like how you overcame them?
Well, I will say that the biggest challenge is really funding. And I can't necessarily say that I've overcome that challenge, but I did start out with quite a few thousands of dollars and putting this all together. But even with that, you still need more money to build a type of platform that I'm engaged in building. So I would say, the biggest thing is looking at, how much this thing is going to actually cost to build, because oftentimes we're underfunded in building businesses, even though, there's lots of great ideas out there. Having that base to work from, to be able to get it up to a state where, you're up and you're sufficient, it takes a little bit more than oftentimes we anticipate.
Yeah, and also that does tie into your background, because you have a very successful, like you're doing. Is it okay to people tell them also like your background and your previous experience?
You broke up a little bit. I think, were you asking about my background?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my background is in real estate. I actually started selling real estate in 1986. Just a young guy getting started, and fast forward to today, I became a broker in 2001. I built the largest Black-owned real estate company in San Diego County.
There it is. So what would you give people who are aspiring to actually, despite all challenges and obstacles, like what's the single driving force that has made you successful?
I think, making a commitment. At the age of 16, I lost my dad. My dad was a real estate agent. He had just passed his broker's license, and then he got ill. And I think, for me as a kid, I wanted to fulfill his dream to have his own real estate company. And so that just kind of drove me, to make it there.
Wow. Wow. And that it's like I have all of these questions. I have a whole bunch of questions. It's like the symbolism that I'm seeing here, and that's carrying into this next venture. What part of that significant story are you actually putting into this platform? Because that's like a huge driving force. It's like my dad. My dad died during the pandemic, and I'm still working to get through that, and it's tough for me personally. So that's part of my driving force as well, just so you know. I know we've never talked about that, but it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's new news to me. So I see this as a legacy project. I have 5 children. I have a son who's the oldest, and then I have 4 daughters. And this to me is really a legacy project, so that, this is something that'll go on forever. And this is really my way to give back to them and the people that are around me.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's other reasons why this group has been established. It's about building out your dynasty and legacy at the exact same time, because I've had a chance to live a pretty amazing life. It's been relatively insulated on a few things, and it's just through no fault of my own. It's just like literally that's what happens when you, as like you start hitting certain levels. There are certain challenges and obstacles as well. But now that I'm no longer playing in those high level military rooms or corporate lanes and things of that nature, that's my why as well. My why is to be able to really inspire and motivate other people who genuinely can see people who are really doing it and have done it and have the receipts and have all the proof, but more importantly, educating and inspiring other people to take specific action so that they can have the success as well. Because that's one of the reasons why I got into advertising and marketing. It wasn't because like I wanted to, it's just because I'm a high level communicator who genuinely understands it, and I've played in these rooms. So it's not one thing I was like, oh well, let me just make a whole bunch of money or blah blah blah. It's like, no, my why was a little bit bigger. My why came out of pain of just literally wanting to know all the stuff that you're talking about sharing on blackowned.com. It's really a big deal to me. Like, I want to partner and collaborate with people. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, blue, purple. It's all red at the end of the day, and we're all going to wind up the same place. So it's just like, let's really figure out how we can work together and play together. And that was one of my actual final questions to you, was like, where do you see this whole vision, this movement going the next 30 days, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 20 years, in perpetuity kind of thing?
Yeah, so then the next 30 days, we're really looking at kind of reformatting some of the infrastructure. We kind of got out of the gate really fast and had a lot of moving parts. And, oftentimes, when one thing is demanding attention, another thing is demanding attention. And so, our attention kind of got spread fairly thin quickly because we were getting so much interest and trying to satisfy that interest. So over the next 30 days, we're really just trying to dial it back and just focus on developing our e-commerce platform. And then, over the next 5 years, really going back to, with the e-commerce platform as the real engine behind this, is really going back to serving our youth, working back on that platform where we can develop an employment platform that allows our professionals to showcase, their skills and talents, so that corporations will know that they'll be able to get authentically Black people with the same skills that they've been looking for. And then, of course, I have a affinity for entertainment, and, I have some family members in entertainment, and, I love entertainment as well. And so we've got some interest there as well. But again, really just, trying to narrow our focus right now on the e-commerce side, because I think that's the engine that will move everything else along.
Yeah, 100%. And just in closing, if there's one specific piece of information that you can give somebody right now, like what would that be in order for them to really want to know more and grow and talk and just develop with this project that you have for blackowned.com?
I would say that, we're in the early stages, so be patient, but know that, we're building something incredible. And if you look at, some major companies like, Amazon or, Tesla or any company like that, we're in those early stages just like them. And at some point, this is something that we'll all be able to be proud of. And, if you're talented enough and see the vision and feel like it's something that you would want to participate in, you're in on the early stages of building something that is a legacy project.
Yeah. And I appreciate you, coming through on abovethematrix.com. You can check him out over at blackowned.com. And I am personally helping facilitate this process. You're going to watch this thing evolve and grow relatively fast. A lot of people know how I play. and it's one of the things that I told Quentin that's essential, is that when you go over there right now, you're going to see a basic email capture, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to really, if you're interested, then just go. And then as we continue to build, grow, and develop this out, because he's already measured twice and we're cutting once. So it's one of those things where it's crawl, walk, run, marathon in that order. So super excited, super honored, and super grateful that we had a chance to connect and just go a little bit deeper. And it looks like I got a lot to learn as well. So I'm super excited about that. I'm like a little kid in the candy store now. I'm just like, oh, okay. I get a chance to grow in some other areas, and I'm super excited about that. And I really thank you for showing up to the world the way that you do. And it's been nothing but just positivity and just real light and love since we've connected. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Of course. And guys, do me a favor, any questions, just drop a comment, just drop a like, just let us know that you're here. And look forward to chatting you more. We'll chat with you soon. And thank you for watching Above the Matrix. Peace.
Thank you.